Okay, for those folks that are on the line and or on the computer, good morning. I hope you had a great weekend. This is Vince McLaughlin, and I am the Executive Vice President of Essential Benefits. And we are an enrollment firm that we're going to talk a little bit about today's open enrollment. We were hired by the company and also by Vinbrook Insurance Services to be able to roll out your open enrollment with regards to any type of insurance benefit plans, and that's what we'll be discussing today. The purpose of the call today is that, and I'll be clicking in an agenda here in a second, is we're going to discuss today a little bit about benefits of enrolling counseling and what that entails and what you can envision. I'm going to talk about the key process steps, and that's going to be where the managers play a vital role with regards to this, and I'll reiterate that numerous times as we talk today about this process. The logistics behind this is another vitally important role that we play along with you. We understand what it's like for companies to successfully get these products rolled out to their employees without getting in the way of the normal operational duties of any industry, let alone the industry that you guys are in. Information flow is really a key component to this week, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. It's important that the managers get out the information to the benefit eligible employees, and in knowing what to expect, what's coming down the pike, so to speak, on your benefit package. The key dates are very important. This is one of the key dates today on the 30th, where we're speaking to the managers, because the managers are going to play probably the most important role in this process. At the end of the presentation, you guys, we will have a question and answer time period. I would ask, in order for me to get through this as quick as possible for you guys, that we kind of refrain to hold back the questions till the very end. And then I will also provide my contact information as well. One of the things that the company and your insurance broker, Vinbrook Insurance Services, is knowing who the heck is Essential Benefits. So we think it's important that we talk about a little bit about who we are, so you'll know what we do. We were established in 2003, and we've been enrolling and educating people on their employee benefit packages for going on our 16th year. Our company does deploy the personnel and technology that supports and delivers the benefits education. And again, we'll talk about that. We're going to be sending out some communications this week, and also the enrollment support to all the employees during the open enrollment. Our key goal in all of this is to educate the employee, to make sure that they understand what's being offered to them, and have them, through a no pressure at all environment, make benefit decisions for themselves and their families. We do that a variety of ways. We've done that for years with Benefit IQs through group meetings. What we'll be doing for you this year is face-to-face one-on-one meetings. And then I'm going to talk about a call center that we're going to kind of have some restrictions on as I go through the presentation on how we can achieve this goal to get this accomplished for you guys here in 2019. Like I previously said, strong benefits education for all employees is the most important and critical aspect of what we can do for you and what we're going to do for you this year. We have a mandate since about 2008 to where we have to, and one of our duties is, and one of the duties of MAR this year is to make sure that we are compliant with what's being offered through the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare for what a lot of folks know. There are certain provisions on that we want to make sure you're educated on as management employees. So, and the importance of making sure that we see at least 95% of the entire company is our objective for this year's enrollment. We do this every 2 or 3 years, and we have a 5-year plan that we do for a lot of our clients, that when we are educating folks, it's not only just this year. So we can talk about that at a later date, but we want to make sure that we're not just coming in, or here's an appearance of coming in to be able to do this. this year for you, and then you won't see us again. So we come up with some very strategic ways to make sure that companies stay compliant, and we do that through a variety of strategies year over year. And then this year, one of the new benefits you're going to be offered to is some supplemental products on a voluntary basis through MetLife. The key process steps for us this year is a manager's logistic call, which we are doing today. We're going to prepare you for the process, and like I said, and there's going to be questions by the employees, so we want to make sure you're well equipped with the knowledge. We're going to be sending out some pre-enrollment communication to you after this call today. It's vital that folks know what's going on with regards to the product offering. So it's important for us to talk about the steps that we're going to ask the managers to forward on to the benefit eligible employees, along with a little bit of information regarding the supplemental products as well. Managers, you're going to be responsible for an online scheduler. Ronnie Warner from our office will be sending out a link to all the stores, and we have all the stores' email addresses to start the process for managers to help schedule those benefit employees. The time period that we're going to be able to do this is going to go from today through Friday. We'll talk about that a little bit towards the end of the call on some key dates that I said earlier in the agenda. The next bulleted item you'll see there says all employees will meet with the benefit counselor at the assigned time. This applies to all benefit eligible employees without exception. In order for us to achieve the goal for the company in getting 95% of all benefit eligible employees enrolled is a vital part of what we're doing. So this can be without exception, as stated previously. We absolutely need to make sure that you know that anybody who's benefit eligible will have to sit down with the benefit counselor without exception. Employees that miss their face-to-face meetings with the benefit counselor, is going to have an opportunity to use our call center process in order to complete their enrollment. I want to stress to you, and we did on a previous call, stress to everyone how important that this call center is only going to be for two categories of employees. One is any employee that's on a leave of absence program for whatever reason, and then the other category of employee is the employee who happens to be on a vacation during the week that we do the enrollment. We will not use the call center as something in which we use for those folks that don't come to their assigned appointments. And again, we're going to reiterate this at the end of the call again about the use of the call center. So call center is only going to be for those folks that absolutely can't make it. And without exception, everyone else is going to sit with the benefit counselor during this week. The benefit counselor is going to make, along with the employee, is going to make the proper elections, whether the employee wants to participate in any of the programs, or if the employee wants to participate in any of the supplemental products that previously, in my understanding, have never been offered to employees prior to that. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. Additional logistics, even if, and this, I'm going to read this one verbatim, even if they say they won't be enrolling, when we're talking about benefit eligible employees, encourage the employees to sit down and learn about the benefits. It's only scary because they're not educated, and that's what we do, again, in a non-threatening environment. Even if they waive the benefits entirely, their signature captured in the system or in a paper form, the document is required for the compliance issue. And we want to stress that our goal, again, is to make sure we're compliant with all employees who are benefit eligible, whether they participate in a program or not. One of the most important features that we do is the employee will walk away with a piece of paper. It's our post-enrollment survey. We will have these surveys in both English and Spanish. The purpose of this is to provide feedback to the company, not to us as enrollers and not to Vandenbroek Insurance Services as your broker, but we want to have the employee feedback to HR with regards to their enrollment experience. We're gonna ask that, and there's vital situation, and we don't want the employee to be getting the surveys back to the enroller. That kind of defeats the purpose. So we're asking these surveys to go to the managers, and the managers use your proper method. We're saying scan an email back to the corporate HR, or however you communicate with your corporate HR. We're gonna hope that you can do that and get back, so the ownership and executive staff will see the job that we're doing for you guys at Mar. Call center hours and call center flyers will be forwarded to managers at the week's end, and that's only if we know in your particular store if there's someone who has been missed. So your communication back to myself and or Ronnie from our office is vital during the week, and I will be reaching out to Helena and devising that list. So probably the proper method to be doing this is that anybody that you know in your particular store who's not going to be able to make it in the following week, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that information needs to get back to corporate HR so I can devise a list to see how that particular segment of the population is growing or not growing. Spanish and English support with benefit counselors will be on site at all locations. Using the online scheduler, the next slide that I want to show you is just an example of another account that we have. So you will be receiving a link from Ronnie Warner at our office, and that link will allow you to start the scheduling process for your employees. The importance of managers doing scheduling allows the manager to schedule around, number one, the workforce, but number two, around your operation as well. So this is where your support is vitally needed, and completion of this task is really important for us to be successful. So be on the lookout sometime later on today for the link that's going to go to the store email address. The next slide of the information flow, we want to make sure you understand the process as well. So if you look on the right-hand side of this particular slide, you'll see where your help is needed here, and also I'll say that there, but it's also here as well. Besides the link that you'll be receiving this afternoon, there's also during this particular week, and again, this will all make sense when I show you the dates, there's going to be a pre-enrollment material flow. It's also going to be sent to the store email addresses. This is something in which we'd like you to share with those benefit eligible employees if possible. And it'll talk a little bit about the health plans. It's going to talk a little bit about the MEC plan that's going to be offered, and it's also going to talk a little bit about the MetLife products as well. There will be a one-page pre-enrollment material document that will be sent out to you right after the link, and that is going to be what is required for you to do. This is an important document to get out to the benefit eligible employees. Keeps it real simple, what they can expect, and that way they'll know they won't be going into anything blind. That second bottom right arrow where your help is needed is the one-on-one meetings. Your scheduling is absolutely vital for us, and to have the benefit eligible employees to be showing up on time to complete the process and then go back to what their duties are and or where they came from, so to speak. But having them showing up on time is really important, and we're going to need your support with that. From the pre-enrollment material, you're going to see and you'll see more things about orientation. The individual enrollment methods in this case, like I was saying previously, is going to be strictly the one-on-one meetings with the benefit counselor. What we do on our end, so you'll know what the complete flow of information is we take and enroll folks on technology. We're also going to have a couple forms for them to give us wet signatures on. But that data return goes to the following areas. It goes to carriers. It obviously goes back to Helena and HR. And then it also goes to your insurance broker at Venbrook Insurance Services. So the key here on this information flow is your support, again, on the pre-enrollment and the one-on-ones. So please help us out with that so we can make this a successful enrollment. The key dates that we have here, this is what I've been alluding to. Obviously, we're here on 9:30 for the managers meeting call. We have the call recorded, so we can forward this on to those managers who couldn't make the call today, because all I can see is who's using the screen. So for those folks that aren't using their screen, we're going to be sending out that information with regards to that. Again, today on 9:30, we're going to send out the scheduler link, like I said previously. So from 9:30, which is today, through 10:04, managers will be scheduling benefit eligible employees in their respective areas. We will be watching to see, who's accomplishing this, and those folks that are having a difficult time, we want them to give us a call so we can assist them in achieving their goals in their stores. The open enrollment period starts on 10/7, and I have here 10/11. In the regional managers call, we had a couple questions about going over into the weekend, and I believe we're going to extend that to 10/13 as well. Let me check on something real quick, everybody, to make sure I'm saying the right dates. Yeah, 10/13 would be a Sunday, and we understand about that logistical stuff. So we're going to ask if you have that kind of a dynamic where most of your people that are benefit eligible are working on the weekends, please let me know, because we're going to be able to adjust some schedules accordingly. The last part of this enrollment will be the call center. And again, to make very clear that this is only going to be for leave of absence employees along with vacation employees. We understand if folks can't make their appointment, we're going to assume it's going to be because of some sort of an emergency family situation or things of that nature. But we do not want to use this, and we are not even going to give out the call center number until the end of the week for those employees. For those folks that can see on the screen, notice that this is only a 3-day period. So this is vitally important that we know, as I'm watching the amount of employees that are on this list, and again, I'll get that from Helena, then it's vital that I know how to keep this open. Please understand that on the insurance side of things, there's reporting requirements that we have to do as well. So we have until the end of the month after the 16th to get those things to the carriers, like the information flow slide showed what our responsibility is post-enrollment. I want to reiterate how important your role as a manager is absolutely vital to this enrollment. Support this for us, please, so we can go through and we can educate the employees on coverages that are being offered by the company. We really advocate on you going first. If you go first, you'll know what the experience is, you'll have the benefits survey, and you can also communicate with your benefit eligible employees as to the educational part and the not selling part of benefit education that we do at Essential Benefits. So it's vital, and we're really going to ask that you go first so you'll know that process. The other two bulleted items on this particular slide are pretty excuse me, guys. Help support the learning process. It's just kind of redundant, but still, it's how we really can do this to be successful. And please provide your feedback back to the corporate HR. So really super important that we do that. Now, again, this is who I am, Vince McLaughlin. I'm managing your enrollment. Here's my contact information. So for those folks that aren't using the screen, my phone number is 661 area code 496-5848. And my email address is my first name, Vince, V-I-N-C-E, at ebenz, as in E as in Edward, B as in boy, I as in Idaho, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, dot B-I-Z. So again, email address is Vince at ebenz.biz. Ronnie, how about we unmute this and let's entertain questions.
I don't have any questions.
If you don't have a question, go ahead and mute your own line, possibly, guys. That way all the background noise is reduced.
I'll check it later. What is that for next?
No questions,
I'm
guys?
so sorry. Vince, I know I was muted. I don't know. Krista had a question regarding, and I was talking, not realizing I was muted. For the different locations, how do they know who's benefit eligible? We do have a census. I can sort it by state, so it won't be by store, but it will be by state, and I can provide it. The benefit counselors will also have a list as well, but we can also send that out, possibly with the scheduling link. But I would hope that the store managers who knows who is and is not benefit eligible, but just in case, I can provide a list by state. So they'll have that as well.
Okay. Thank you, Ronnie. And Greg, let me ask a question to Greg. Greg, the census that was sent over to us, is that just the benefit eligible folks, or is that the entire census for the entire company?
That's just the benefit eligible folks. And can you make sure that you get the census version that Helena and Rob will send you? They only want employee numbers and locations information, none of the sensitive, personal identifiable information on that.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. I was just going to copy and paste and divide it by state and just have a list of names and store numbers, and that's it. If the store numbers are on that.
If you want to do that, get that. I'll have Rob and Helena send it to you because they already divided it and they have their, the branch number, Domino's number, and the employee number, so that it makes it easier. So each store manager knows exactly. Yeah, perfect.
That'd be great. You can send it to me so I can have a copy. And if you guys have a mass email, like where you can just email blast it to all the managers, please feel free to do that and just copy me on it, because they might know who it's coming from, if it's coming from you versus myself.
And one more comment, the reason we need everybody's support to drive all the employees there, because for 2019, the IRS is requiring that we capture 95% at a minimum documentation around this process. So it's extremely important that we get everybody on that list to see a benefits counselor.
Yeah, we need to make that abundantly clear so we can achieve that goal. Well, good. Thank you, Greg, for that. I appreciate it. How about some questions from the field?
Vince, I think what might be also a good idea is when we send out the schedule links, which everybody should receive today, most likely tomorrow the latest, is to send those attachments of the benefit eligible employees out with the links. So this way they can use that as a cross-reference when they're scheduling their employees.
That's a great idea. Make it easy on the store managers that way. Any other questions or comments?
None.
So Vince, just reiterate one more time that.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, hey, just reiterate one more time, that it all falls apart if the scheduling isn't done, and the transporting employees getting to the location. Why don't you just review that one more time?
Sure. So you're talking about the time periods, Mike?
Yeah, scheduling, and then open enrollment start date, you know, and then employees are going to drive to the training locations or get transported there one way or the other. Each manager is going to take care of that.
That's our intention, is to do that. So again, real quick, managers, we have 3 locations that we're going to be doing. There's a South Carolina location, there is an Illinois location, and then there's a Los Angeles location. It's important that you know, the training center in Los Angeles is where the focal point at this point in the California. So I think it's important for what you're going to be receiving besides all this too. And excuse me, Mike, let me mention something else. I think it needs to be sent out there because we haven't even talked about what benefits. So California locations, you're going to be offered a Kaiser medical plan. You're going to be offered a MEC plan along with the MetLife benefits. For the locations in South Carolina and Illinois, you're going to be offered an Anthem plan. You're also going to be offered the MEC plan along with the MetLife benefits. The MetLife benefits are going to be accident plans, cancer plans, life insurance plans, and a hospital indemnity plan that we will send out pre-enrollment communications on those after we send out the links or the schedulers. So to go back to what Mike's comment was, on the week of this week, the managers are responsible for scheduling their folks. The following Monday of 10/7 is when we are going to be seeing folks at those respected areas. I did talk with Austin about his area back in South Carolina, and we're working through a personalized schedule there. I've yet to talk to the Illinois general manager, excuse me if I'm district manager, or I want to say the correct title, about your location, and I'd like to do that today if you happen to be on the line. It's vitally important, though, this next week, like Mike was saying, that this week that we get everybody scheduled in for their proper times. And again, guys, the goal is this. 1 is get them scheduled, but 2, get them scheduled around your operation so we're not disrupting your operation. So that's where your expertise is. That's the importance of your expertise, and that's what we need your help with.
Vince, there was a couple of questions that came up on the chat. One is from Derek. When does everybody need to sign up by? And one from Krista, which is, where are the training sites?
Well, we've been provided. I can give Derek and Krista that information offline. That was information that was given to us early on as to where those sites were at. I don't have them right directly in front of me right now. I'm trying to find them real quick, guys. But as far as Krista and Derek are concerned, I can give you that information via email offline.
For California, it's store 7771.
I'm sorry, who was this on the phone?
So that was Holvik. For the LA stores, it's
gotcha.
Training store.
Right. Yeah, at your training site?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was one more question from Krista asking, no one knows what a MEC plan is. Please explain. That came from Krista.
Greg, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so the MEC plan is just a basic minimal essential coverage plan that provides preventative services only to employees. It is the minimum coverage individuals would need if they wanted to avoid any individual mandates that might apply to their state. Yeah, so that will be explained during the benefit enrollment portion as well.
Any other questions from the field managers?
Transportation to and from the training sites for these meetings, how's that being handled for the employees? Hey, Vince, could you hear me?
I could, Mike.
Yeah, great. So we should address that because managers might be wondering, well, how do the employees get back and forth?
Well, it's under my understanding that the managers are going to make them eligible to be at these sites. I can't tell you individually how they're going to get there, but I don't know what else to say as far as how are the employees going to get there. I think that's going to be an employee option.
So are there any district managers on the call that might be able to jump in? We want to make sure that we try to address anything and everything that might be a question as we get started so we don't have a friction point or a slowdown as once we get going.
Close the door.
Hi, this is Lorena. I know that some of the managers are asking employees per store, maybe if it's the full-timers or 30 hours or more, and then because it all depends how many hours per store is going to be. It's going to, I need to make sure that they know that it's not everyone going to qualify for this.
Yeah. These are 30 or more hours a week type of people, usually close to full time. And most of them that qualified managers, assistant managers, and those, CSRs don't work that many, and drivers that are probably your opening and closing. So most of them have transportation. This is, again, California only.
There's one question from Joe Cabral on the email link. Will price be listed for these benefits, or do they find out at the training center? Also, will the list of employees be available for each store? Yes, we do address that. We're going to make sure a list of the employees will be available when we send out the training links. And yes, the prices will be when the employees come down with the benefit counselors. It will not be on the link.
Joe, we're going to give a document by probably the end of the day that talks a little bit about the type of MetLife plans, from a general standpoint. If we get specific questions with regards to that, I would ask that they contact myself in particular, and we'll be able to forward a little more detailed information out. We just didn't want to overload everybody with a lot of information. We wanted to make sure they knew what the process is, number one. And then number two, from a general standpoint on what is being offered for them. And that'll be on the document that you'll be receiving later on today as well. More questions from the field?
I'm sorry, Vince?
Well, say that again, Ronnie.
Oh, okay. I meant to. I was trying to mute some of the background noise, and I muted you accidentally. So if you said anything in the last 8 seconds, it might have been muted for the recording.
Yeah. Well, if there's no other questions, go ahead. You have a question?
Everybody's unmuted.
It doesn't seem to.
Okay.
Well, again, your support managers you're vital to our process. Be on the lookout at your store emails for the stuff that we had talked about today between the link, the pre-enrollment communication, and we'll be watching on how the scheduling is turning out, and we're looking forward to meeting everybody.
Likewise. Thank you.
If there isn't any other questions, everybody have a great day, and we'll get this going for you today.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.